A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. As Jesus drew near Jerusalem, he saw the city and wept over it, saying, "If this day you only knew what makes for peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. For the days are coming upon you when your enemies will raise a palisade against you. They will encircle you and hem you in on all sides. They will smash you to the ground and your children within you, and they will not leave one stone upon another within you, because you did not recognize the time of your visitation." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. It's a very dire prophecy that Christ makes about the city of Jerusalem as he finally arrives to it. A prophecy of total destruction. Not one stone upon another within you will be left untouched. We must remember that this prophecy applies not only in history to what happened to Jerusalem in the first century, and a city that still has many problems of the same kind, but it's a prophecy that applies to our lives. A devastating and frightening prophecy that all that we have built up, all that we have built up around ourselves within which to reside with an apparent safety, will be laid waste. For all of its goodness. We've been reading this week the story of the Maccabees. And today's reading of Mattathias, who stands up for the law against the king's messenger and the new Gentile law. This is a glorious and beautiful thing in the book of Maccabees. But even that, it's not that the city is entirely sinful. It's founded on the faith of men like Mattathias. But that will be laid to nothingness in the hour of visitation. If it does not recognize the hour of its visitation, so think of these two lines in this prophecy, which seems so focused on the actual moments of Christ's arriving to Jerusalem at the end of his journey, preparing for the Passion, but applying it to our lives. If you had only known what makes for peace, you would have recognized the day of your visitation. In order to recognize the arrival of God, we must know what makes for peace. If only you had known what makes for peace. So what is it that makes for peace? What is the peace? Not of Jerusalem in its historical existence in the first century, but for the peace of our souls and the peace of the heavenly Jerusalem, the true Jerusalem, to which we belong, or towards which we are called, and in which we participate in some mysterious way even now. What does it take to recognize the hour of our visitation? We are students at a university. We think we know when the exams are. We hopefully know what some of the questions will be, but not all of them. But what we eventually learn is that we are being tested at many other times, even just in our academic knowledge. The final exam is not really the moment of our visitation. It's so many other occasions. Some of them with the class, our ability to ask questions, to respond to questions, to understand even what other people are asking or what they are saying. But it's, of course, even the moment when we are sitting on our own and reading our book. That could be the moment of visitation. Not of God, necessarily, but perhaps in some way. The moments that will give rise to our conversion towards what is better. We need to be able to recognize it. And Christ says that to recognize that is to be able to know what would make for peace. And so a few thoughts on what might make for peace. I've had a few peaceful days in my life. Cueing the rain to stop. Not as many as I would like to have had. But we've all had a day or two where we felt we understood what it meant to be at peace, and we were ready to recognize what it would mean to be visited, the visitation. There are a lot of kinds of peace, and not all of them are what Christ is talking about. There is the peace of worldly calm, which, believe it or not, occasionally happens. I went to college in the middle of a 15,000-acre forest on a mountaintop, and it seemed easy to find peace. If the 1 square mile at the center, which was campus, was crazy, you could walk as far as you wanted into the woods with safety to find the peace of wild things. Trees do not panic normally. Animals in the woods do not panic until you show up. Flowers do not panic. They're satisfied in some sense being what they are, and there is a peace of calm, which one can even find in this place. If you drive into the depth of the city, whether it's Dallas or Rome or some other city that you care about, you can immerse yourself in such a vast quantity of people and of directions and of intentions and of possibilities that it's clear no one really cares exactly what you're doing there. And this is a kind of peace. No one's really paying attention to you. It is not the hour of your visitation. You're just walking around the mall. Whether it's this mall or a shopping mall, or you're just standing in line at a coffee shop, all they want is your money. They have no other judgments. There's a certain kind of peace. But that is not the peace of our visitation. It's a distracted kind of peace. Although it can help us if we're not sure what to look for, to find that kind of peace and to begin to experience it because it is real. The peace of wild things. That can prepare us for the visitation of God, which is also peaceful. But it's not really enough. I wandered around the forest for most of my freshman year of college, but at the end decided it was better to join the church. And the Catholic Church is not peaceful in the same way as a Tennessee forest. But it's much better. There's also a peace of achievements and of freedom from worldly ends. We may have finished a big exam, or finished the paper, finished our JPO panel, and we feel like now we can rest. Some great cause of anxiety has been concluded, for better or worse. And now we are free from that. And so we feel at rest. But that's not the visitation. It's only something neutral. Of course, it's even true of our studies, moving to something even better. Our studies are not connected directly to anything very useful. Say what you will about your major. There's a lot to do between now and your being useful for other people's needs. What you are doing is preparing yourself beautifully to respond to other people's needs. And there is a kind of peace, and I do hope that there are moments, I know I experienced them, and I know people who experienced them here, when thinking, all I have to do today is finish this paper. Or all I have to do today is read this book of the Iliad, and it gives them a sense of peace. They don't have to solve all the problems of the world. And yet they know that what they're doing is helping them towards what they will need to do. There is a peace in knowing that I am studying things that are truly beautiful, with people who are wonderful and engaged with it as I am. This is a good thing to be doing and grants me a kind of peace. But what if it suddenly catches me as the moment of visitation, the moment to change my life? There is also a peace in having a clear conscience. If we are addicted to some attraction, something of greed or lust, or an anger that it delights us to entertain, we cannot think clearly or be at peace. It could even be anxieties about others, loves that we have that are good, but that make us restless. How often have we had to spend who knows how long, an hour, pacing around before we can get to bed? What effort it takes to lie down and rest. There's messages to check. We might need to let someone know that we paid attention to something. We might be, contrary to our own desires, fascinated by something which we know is evil. To clear those things away, to rest in the peace of conscience, is a great peace to which we are called, as also the peace of wild things, as also the peace of achievements, the peace of studying that which truly matters, and the peace of freedom from sin and from attachment. But there is more to what God is speaking about, to what Christ is speaking about, when he invites us to know what makes for peace, that which the city of Jerusalem of his day did not know. There is a serenity of resting in God's will. Not just having a clear conscience. It is easier to go to bed or not to go to bed at the end of the day, but even to rest in the middle of the day, or to wake up at the beginning of the day, knowing that I have not committed the sins I'm usually committing. Not just that I haven't murdered anyone, haven't robbed any banks, I haven't hated anyone or desired anyone else's belongings. I haven't lusted after something. We wake up undistracted by desires of a worldly kind. That's a great peace. But there is a further peace which is resting in God's will. Not just that we are free from that which is unpeaceful, but we have found that which is peaceful. Peace is an activity that we are called to engage in. Seek and strive after peace. That is not merely to negate the causes of war. It is to find something good in itself. Peace is something more dynamic and more alive than war. To rest in the serenity of knowing I am doing God's will. Some people are granted that serenity. I can think of one or two moments, maybe 10 minutes or so, where I was truly resting in that. Because it's also a great challenge once you encounter God's will. And not just that I am doing God's will, but it's peace, which means I am being joined to others. Peace is not merely that I am not being bothered, and so I can sit in my chair and drink my tea quietly without worrying. It's that something that divided me from other people has been removed. We are now at peace. That other person could be your roommate. That other person could be Jesus Christ, and everyone in between. There is a peace in that, in living God's will in community. There is a peace then in knowing that you are loved. It is easier to be at peace if you know that somewhere in the world, or in the history of the world, is a person who understands you, who loves you. But there is also peace in being able to do that yourself. Peace in being able to love. If you are able to love and to act out that love, you will feel at peace. You will be ready for your visitation. The visitation is not simply receiving God's love for you and God's judgment of you, but being able yourself to participate in what He is wanting to do, which is to love that which He has created. You are here because you want to receive the Lord who created you. You know that you are loved. But you are also here because you know that you are capable of love, of loving other people, of changing people's lives, of responding to people's needs. And that activity is what your peace will be. This is true of every vocation that there is. They're all experiences of the ability to love, founded on the experience of being loved. We would not exist if we were not loved. And we do exist. And so we are called to something more, to love. Not merely to be free from what disturbs us, but to seek out that which we can love.